Okay, let's see who's on first this week. Will it be Joey? Will it be Danielle? Speak up as soon as you jump on so I know who it is. Danielle, you beat Joey. Ah! Joey, Danielle beat you. Y'all can fight later about that. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Dwayne. Dwayne, you're on here every week. And Steven. Hey, Steve, are you and Elizabeth watching it on your TV again? Hi, Jennifer. Let me see, everybody's getting on. Hi, Ellen. Hi, guys. This is so fun. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing good. In case you weren't on here last week, hi, Aunt Donna. Joey and Danielle were fighting to see who got on first, and the argument carried on well beyond my hash out with Heather live. So I was, you can see the comments. Danielle said victory. I almost went on early to say, okay, who's it going to be, Danielle or Joey? Yes, I am back in my old spot in my dining room. I can't see very well in my bedroom. I actually like it in there because I feel cozier, but I can't see because my eyes are so bad. I'm ashamed to admit, but whatever. It is what it is. So happy Wednesday, you guys. We are jumping into another subject that is near and dear to me. I feel like every week, I was talking to Dee Dee about this, that we talk about a subject and it's crazy how when you're aware of it, I talk about awareness all the time. I can't believe how much it really does impact my life. And this week, forgiveness is definitely a big one for me. And then Danielle and I talked about this a few weeks ago. Before I jump into that though, a couple things. My workshop, I told you last week, is going to be November 18th, and it's going to be from 3 to 6 at my studio in Nashville. And it's called Stepping Into Your Purpose. And we're going to explore our passion. We're going to dive deeper into guilt and forgiveness, because that often stands in the way of us living a life full of joy and purpose. So kind of a little bit about what I've been talking about the past few weeks, but we're going to dig a lot deeper and get much more interactive. So the link will probably go up tomorrow or Friday. I'm about ready to have the event page done. So be on the lookout for that. There's only 20 spots. It is free. I'm really, really excited about it. So we'll have some raffle giveaways. So be on the lookout for that, and be sure to jump on and share it with your friends and on your personal page, because I want it to fill up really quickly and I don't want you to miss out. All right, so I'm going to start with a confession. I haven't done that in a few weeks, have I? It's a little bit about forgiveness, but I did, oftentimes forgiveness involves forgiving ourselves for something, a decision that we made, something that we're not proud of, right? That we feel guilty about or ashamed of. So I did something a few days ago, which I'm not going to dive into, but that it was a mistake. It was not a good decision. It wasn't a really big deal, but it wasn't a good decision on my part. And when it was brought to my attention, when I was called on it, I got defensive. And which I do often when I know I did something wrong, or I'm not proud of myself, or I made a mistake, and someone else brings it to my attention. Those of you that know me well know what I'm talking about. I tend to shut down or get defensive. And I did that the other day to Joey. And then I felt guilty for it, because then I felt guilty for the decision I made. Then I felt guilty because I was short and angry with him all the while I was wrong. It wasn't about him being right and me being wrong, but he was right. And he was trying to communicate with me and talk to me about it. And I just shut down, which is part of what I do when I don't want to talk about something or I know that I was wrong. So then I was having guilt about that. Then I wouldn't forgive myself for it. And then because of the way I handled it with Joey, now I'm mad at myself for that and having a hard time forgiving myself for that. That's a small example of all these emotions that we've talked about recently, with guilt and disappointment and forgiveness. And that's a little example of forgiveness, but if you knew how many times it put over my head since this happened over the weekend, it's just such a waste of energy. It's such a waste of our efforts and our thoughts and our focus to be on something that I could have handled it completely different. And we're going to make mistakes. We're human. So it's all on how we react and respond to them. And so it's I'm sure many of you have been in similar situations that, one decision, then how we handle it oftentimes makes it worse. So my first question to you all, and again, when I ask you these things to be aware, I've said this every week, it's not because I want you to beat up on yourself or me to beat up on myself. That's just the contrary is what I'm hoping for. But we need to be aware in order to correct the behavior or to change our thoughts on how we handle it, right? So if you don't have pen and paper, by the way, I do have one activity coming up. So grab some pen and paper so you can participate with me in a few minutes. But you can write this down or just think about this question. How many of you are eaten up or robbed of your spirit because of something that you did, a decision that you made in your past? Okay, so all right, how many of you think about like a plays over and over, like a slideshow or a movie in your head of something that you did in your past? It could have been your past yesterday. It could have been your past 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But how many of you have something that every once in a while comes back up and just plays in your head? Maybe it's frequently, but because I know that I do. I know I have quite a few things that I tend to play over and over in my head, especially a lot of times when we start to feel guilty and struggle with something with one thing. How many of you can relate to this? It snowballs into, oh, and then that, and then that. And now we're replaying everything we've ever done in our lives that we're not proud of, every bad decision we've made, every mistake. And then it's like this snowball of how bad can I beat myself up, right? So, forgiveness, I feel like it can often feel like we're supposed to punish ourselves with that. So that's why I can't forgive myself so easily. I made a bad choice. I made a mistake. I need to suffer the consequences of that, right? But forgiveness is a good thing, and it's as I put in my caption, it's our path to true freedom, to live a life of joy and peace. And if we don't allow ourselves to forgive other people and ourselves, we will never experience true freedom and true peace. So I want